I've seen so many people struggle with this shredder in Stellar Montes that I thought I'd put together a video showing all of the ways that you can deal with them no matter what kind of gear you've got on you. Whether you want to kill it quickly with a Stitcher or anything you can find on the ground, or just avoid it entirely, there are many ways you can deal with the shredder quite effectively and quickly, and we're going to go through some of those today. The number one thing to avoid with shredders is just to run by them, get them aggroed on you, and then run across the map as they chase you down. Instead, be patient, slow with your movements, and learn to avoid their attacks. Let's start there. If you stop running away from them, you realize you haven't got a problem. Let's get this one here. Let's talk about its attack patterns first. We can stand next to it safely, and as soon as it makes that noise, we just go behind cover. Now it will move close again. As soon as it makes that noise, we can just go behind cover. Now, what's really interesting about this is a lot of people don't realize when it fires, you can step right out afterwards, pretty soon after. So we just wait for it to attack, and then you can just run straight out again. A lot of people run around cover, being afraid, and it's not going to do any damage to you as long as you wait. Bum, bum, bum. Right? They're not as big of a threat as people seem to think. What makes you die is when you keep running and running and running, and then you end up not having enough stamina to deal with them, and then you end up dying, essentially, right? So we're going to take out this shredder a minute, and then we're going to talk about the shredder's weak point so that you can take it out a little bit easier in the future. Even if we stand here, it's pretty safe. It's really not as difficult as a lot of people would say. Now, as you can see, there's one other thing about the shredder that gets a lot of people kind of struggling a bit. It's actually pretty hard to take down because it's pretty armored, right? So how do we kill the shredder as effectively as possible, even if we're running a cheap loadout? Well, we'll talk about that in just a minute. Let's just take them out first. Almost dead. Just wait for him to attack again. And go in for the body hit. As long as you don't panic and just play in and out of cover and listen to his audio cues, you'll be completely fine. Right, he looks kind of funny now, doesn't he? Come on, buddy. Obviously, this is not a very effective way to do it, but I'm just showing you, you really don't need to worry. Pretty good. Right, let's now jump onto a free loadout and talk about how we can take them out as efficiently as possible. Well, we're in. We spawned with a Stitcher. I think this will be a great chance to test this out, because the Stitcher has very weak arc armored penetration. It's not the typical weapon you'd use to take down an armored arc. So let's talk about how we can deal with the shredder. We got one down here. We now know the attack pattern, so basically, we just get his attention and just keep putting bullets on the blue thrusters. Right, that's one done there now. Wait for it to attack first. And then go behind cover. And even though we're only using a Stitcher, look at how weak it is already. Now, this is the part that gets people a little bit confused. It's this final thruster. Oh. Gonna need to wait for this attack and then reposition. As you can see, it's a little bit harder to get that one, which I think gets people a little bit confused. Anyway, let's find another one. Somebody help me with that one. Thank you. All right, but let's say you don't have much supplies. You're going in to loot stuff and you just keep getting chased by a shredder. And maybe you don't have much ammo. What can we do? Well, obviously there's a lot of doors to deal with here. And I'll explain what we can do. By the way, you can crouch behind a lot of cover. And I'll show that in a second. Look, let's say he's here. Even though this isn't a full piece of cover. Wait for him to aggro on me. You can't just crouch behind this. Really, anything will work as long as you got something to block the shots. Now, let's close this door. We know these are a great place to get augment blueprints, right? But they'll also often drop crude explosives, as you can see here. Now, if we are looking for augment blueprints on Stellar Montes, we're running around finding loot, then what we can do is start to stack up a bunch of these. You can craft them from the menu for only 6 chemicals, so they're not really like super worth holding on to be honest. So what we can do is just stack them up and show you a good source of them as we loot through, looking for things. Hello. And look at how many we can get, and it turns out to be a really nice makeshift way of dealing with the shredders. And most people will just leave it behind because, I mean, they don't really care about that. They're looking for other things, right? So let's just pretend we're looting. We're looking for our augment blueprints. We're looking for loot, whatever. And as we go, we just hit up these augment boxes and pick up the crude explosives, like so. And now what we can do, if we got about 10 of them, we can now go find a shredder to be our victim. Let's go find one. Now this obviously works a lot better with any other grenade. If you didn't know, crude explosives can be used as a makeshift grenade. They do about half the damage as a normal grenade, but in a pinch, that will really work. Now, where's our friend? Where is he? Chasing someone down. He's harassing someone. Right, so what we want to do is go over here. Let me just pop this quickly. That guy's running for his life. He's like, oh, I don't want to deal with this, man. You know, he's trying to loot. He's trying to do his thing, and he's just getting caught and harassed by this thing. But look. Just throw it right at its feet. Right in between those thrusters. Can use a pillar, it's fine. What I like about these grenades is you can just keep throwing them pretty fastly. Oops. Well, everyone's helping now. Okay. Pretty quick way to just deal a lot of damage. So if you got a limited amount of ammo, you're gonna have to put it all into the shredder. And finally, if you can't be bothered to deal with them, the best thing you can do is just use a door. So you wait for him to come in here, wait for him to attack. And this is the important part. If I run now, he's gonna potentially door block me. You see that? That's not good. That could get us killed. So we actually need to bait him out further out of the door frame. Wait for the attack. And then as soon as it's done, we can run and we can close the door. Right? A lot easier way to do it. Let me show you that again. Gonna wait for him to come out. And then as soon as the attack's done, I'm getting shot by the turret there. And close him through. Had to be a little bit quicker with that one. Now I want to show frag nades are a great way to do a lot of damage as well, like impact grenades. So if you're running around and you end up picking up enough plastic parts and chemicals, then they're even more effective than the whatever they're called, the crude explosives, right? Just try and get it in between the 2 thrusters. It's going to do the most amount of damage. And then you can just follow up to destroy the 2 thrusters. And then just make a little angle on it, get that back thruster, and you're good. I also did nade myself, I'm very aware. Oopsie! So that's it. Just some pretty quick ways to deal with the shredder no matter what kind of loadout you're running, right? Free loadout, no loadout, whatever it might be, there are ways to deal with the shredder. So stop running around, running away from it, and it's just going to lose you time when you could be looting or doing it something else. So just deal with the shredder in one of these ways and have a better raid because of it. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the comments. Cheerio.